A while back, I made a portable Wii that wasn't very well received. I don't know why people hated on it because the king of portables loved it so much that we became friends.
Okay, so it's a shit post.
Shank did offer to help me if I ever wanted to make a smaller portableized home console, so I took him up on that. The problem is, a lot of people make really amazing portable consoles on YouTube, and I want to stand out from the crowd. I can't just do another Wii or N64, I have to do something that no one has ever done before. I was going into this pretty blind because I've never done anything like this before. I might as well just tell you what the console is since you're about to see it anyways. I chose the original home console, Pong. Okay, well actually I chose Super Pong because I didn't want to destroy my original one. But instead of telling you everything I did, I'll just show you. This thing is really dirty, but the nice thing is we only need the knobs. That was really easy. This is all pretty rusted. This is big time rust. So we gotta make it count and play it straight here. Technically this is already a portable console. It takes 4D batteries. It even has the speaker built in so we don't have to do anything with that. Now for a tough part. These screws are like the inverse of the tri-wing screws from Nintendo. This is the only time I've ever seen a screw that doesn't have a bit for it in the iFixit kit. So I'm using this thing and hopefully just gonna twist it. I got some spinning there. There we go, baby. But we got plenty of rust. So there are these nuts there, and I think that's what's holding in the paddles. Otherwise, I'm just gonna break them when I rip them out. That one came off a lot easier. You think it's just companies now that are anti-right to repair? Yeah, this was a pain to take apart. But let me explain what my plans are for the electronics. Big old mess, but we did it. So here, I've got my 5-inch TFT display. It's gonna go perfectly in between the two knobs. We're just gonna have to find a new spot for the speaker. And then we got this board for controlling all of it. This uses the coax cable to display the image. And that's why the speaker's here, because no audio. So we hook this up, then it should give us what we need. And here I am struggling to do a bit of completely unnecessary soldering because I have no clue what I'm doing. For some reason I thought I could just bypass the AV mod, so I asked Shank what he thought of that. So I went back to the workbench and got to modding. This AV mod is actually for the Atari 2600, but I took a gamble on it working since the consoles were both made around the same time by the same company. It's actually really simple. Just a few wires and you're good. I soldered directly to the screen that Shank actually recommended me. It was the perfect size and everything. In fact, everything was going smoothly. I ended up getting all the power to go through one USB cable that I tore open and used a fat battery bank to power it. So when I turn on the Pong's power switch, everything gets power and turns on. But like I said, everything was going smoothly. The problem was I couldn't get anything to show up on screen. I knew the console was working because the built-in speaker was pinging and ponging and the screen would turn on, just no signal. That's because I was soldering the video line to where the coax cable plugs in. What I needed was to find the video chip on the board and solder the video wire to the correct pin. So what I did was just touch the video wire to every pin on what I hoped was the video chip until I got a signal. Let's go. I soldered that puppy down and got ready for my victory lap. Now all I have to do is make the case. I knew I wanted to keep the wooden aesthetic of 70s electronics, so I chopped down a tree and got to work. After days of cutting, gluing, and sanding, I gave the shell a dark stain. It wasn't exactly the color I was picturing, but I didn't want to have to chop down another tree for this project. All I have to do now is spend an hour putting it together. And now that it's done, the screen isn't centered. I'm not making another one, I don't care. It took too much time. If you're new here, my creations are never pretty. So we're all just gonna have to deal with it, okay? I topped it off with an acrylic screen lens that was thinner than I thought, so I tried to blend everything together with a black vinyl border. One of these days I'll make something pretty. But let me throw it to other me to show off the finished product. Well, let's check this thing out, huh? I decided to keep the base from the Pong machine because it is perfect and it has the right angle to play it at. Honestly, if I just found a decent way to put the screen in the original housing, I would have used it. But let's actually turn this thing on, huh? So we have our one USB cable here and we have our fat battery bank, 20,000 milliamp hours. I don't know the science behind it, but it pushes enough power to power everything. And I like to just slap that in there. It fits almost perfectly in the base here, and it's going to give us a lot of battery life. I don't know the total battery life on this thing, but I don't know how many people are going to be playing Pong for hours, so it's not really necessary to know the total battery life of this thing. I just know it hasn't died yet. flipping it over, I've actually got the power switch on the front here. Just slide that over. You'll immediately hear the beeps and boops, and it takes like 2 seconds for the screen to turn on, and it just immediately goes. But if you don't know, there is a button to actually start the game that usually is about right here on the Pong machine. But back here is usually where the power plug goes in if you don't want to use batteries. And instead of just keeping the power plug there, I decided to put the button there to start it. And that's not fair. Oh gosh, but everything works. Sometimes the paddle is a little glitchy, but it's still 70s technology, so not gonna fault it that much. And sometimes that happens. You can, is this gonna go forever? This may actually go forever. This is sick. I've never hit it so perfectly centered before. But while this is going, down here, you can't really see it. Down here, since I used the original base, we can change up the game modes. I don't really want to break this. This is sweet. Okay, I'm going to flip the game mode. Ready? It's an intense game. So 1 is singles, 2 is doubles. With 3, you can just bounce it off the wall and you're just practicing. Tennis ball up against the wall. 4 is soccer. Yeah, I mean, it's not a ton of features to it. It's Pong. Everything plays fairly well. It's just it. It's Pong. Super Pong. But let's go see what Shank thinks of this.
I gotta say, I dig that you went with the wood. Like, I understand now why. It's that Atari look, you know what I mean? That, like, that 80s. Is the screen and the knobs, are they centered?
No. No, they're not.
You gotta show me it working, though. Like, you gotta play it.
Well, okay, grab the other controller real quick. And we'll play
sure.
again.
Let me grab the knob. And I'll just be like, woot, woot.
I've got everything wired up, 1 USB.
Oh, I dig it. Yeah, because everything runs on 5 volts, so you just run a single power switch. Like, I actually really dig the idea. Like, that makes a lot of sense. Nice. Is that like I don't think I've ever seen. Let me pull up a Super Pong thing to like see what you started with. Okay. Yeah, I probably should have done my research beforehand. The idea is really cool. It's a lot cooler. Like seeing it, I didn't quite understand what you were going for when you were first describing it to me, but now that I'm like seeing it, I'm like, okay. When I look at it, I can see like what you were going for and like what the, if you were to go back and do like a 2.0, like you could nail it, you know? Are you gonna do a 2.0?
Could I have found a way to trim the board down and make it slimmer? Probably, but I'm proud of this thing. I made my own portable console. I did something that I don't think anyone has ever done before. I don't care if it's ugly. That being said, I'm already thinking about what I could do for a V2, so you should get subscribed to see that when it comes out. So I guess now the goal is 100K? So like, subscribe, and I will see you guys in the next one. Merry Chrysler. This is big time rust. What? Oh.